What's up YouTube, Christo here. I've got another collection video for you. I just recently did an unboxing with a few really cool records in here, so be sure to check that out. But primary focus here is my vinyl collection. Two amazing bands that have been extremely influential in my music taste. One that I got into way back in high school, and one that probably just in the last 10 years, maybe a little under 10 years ago, both with amazingly unique sounds that, arguably have been, ripped off, emulated, copied, whatever, numerous times, but they're still just like the absolute forefront of their genre or sound. Going to be looking at Earth and Fantomas. Now I'm going to get into Earth first. First CD. Usually don't get into CDs unless they're only available on CD on my channel, or they're insanely rare. This one not particularly insanely rare on vinyl. I kind of got hosed, but luckily I got my money back. Someone's selling this on Amazon, listing it as vinyl for about the same price the record was on Discogs. The only difference is on Amazon I get $3.50 Canadian for shipping. On Discogs I'm paying like $15 to $20 Canadian shipping. So I was like, you know what, it's no brainer. I'm just gonna buy it off Amazon. Arrived and it was a friggin' CD, and the guy like fought to not give me a refund. I even told him I'd send it back because I didn't want it. I can get this for like $5 at the used CD store, and luckily Amazon found it in my favor, and the guy didn't reply. I offered to send it back to him, he didn't even respond to me, so I've still got it. I have ripped it and I've listened to it on my phone. It's okay. I don't like it as much. Angels of Darkness, Demons of Light, Volume 1. So I heard Earth for the first time not too long before this came out. Probably around when this came out, Hibernaculum. Now to me, I definitely have to say this is the pinnacle of their genius to me. It's minimal, it's ambient, it's hypnotic, it's organic, it's beautiful. I think the cover of this, this amazing, very, I don't know, earth tones, oil painting is beautiful, and I think it absolutely, without a doubt, reflects the sound of the album. I don't know, people call them metal, and I'm not overly familiar with their early work. I've listened to it a few times, and it didn't really talk to me like this does, but what an absolutely amazing record. Now, I do have a black version and a clear version. I slept on a brown version of this, and unfortunately I missed out on it. I know there are, I think this is my color, or my clear version. Really nice custom insert with some more really cool nature images. Yeah, this is my colored version. I usually don't keep the custom sleeves on my black versions because the black versions are the ones I play. The colored ones are the ones that I store. Just like a nice clear pressing, a bit oily in there, looking like kind of a oil slick rainbow kind of effect. But such a great record. If you're not overly familiar with Earth, or you have not heard Hibernaculum, I highly recommend checking it out. I think it is just their most genius record. Not going to bother showing the black pressing because I'm sure you know what that looks like. This got a lot of hate, and I think for the most part deservedly so. Now, I can't hold Earth completely at fault. It's kind of like that DJ Shadow syndrome, where you release this like genre defining album that just is so different than anything that's ever been done, and then everybody wants you to release it over and over and over and over. And Earth took a very different approach here, although be it simply just by putting in vocals. They got a lot of hate for this record. The vocals don't bother me. It is kind of unusual, you know, to put on an Earth record and hear vocals, at least for me. But I just don't find the music to be that great either. I think kind of from this on, a lot of their stuff kind of went downhill. So I think this is still good, but it's not great. And from this kind of, it's gone downhill since then, in my opinion. I do have the limited colored pressing with the, I don't know, little, I'm not sure what you call it, the little flap or whatever here. This is a pretty standard pressing. These are still readily available for very cheap. They're meant to be blue, purple, and mixed green, but mine are basically just blue and purple. I don't think there's any green in here at all. It does look kind of cool. Very, you know, suggestive of the cover. Looks nice. The other disc is pretty much the same, so I'm not even going to bother getting it out. I'm glad I got it, because, you know, I'm sure in a while this will be collectible. It's only from 2016? 2016, I think. Not too long ago, but it's okay. I rarely listen to it. It really doesn't hold my interest that much. This album, this is a little bit more rare. It's nothing outrageous. There are a few Earth records that are like very desirable. This, I just love it. Definitely my number 2, right behind Hibernaculum. Pretty close number 2, but I do think Hibernaculum is superior. However, this just looks awesome. This is a limited edition of The Bees Made Honey in the Lion's Skull. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I think it's meant to look like the Bible, because the title is a passage from the Bible. So I believe that's supposed to be what it is. That's the original cover there, which is pretty cool. Bees making honey in the lion's skull. Credits over there. And full colored, yeah, I guess it's matte. Nice matte insert, or I don't know, gatefold, whatever. That has basically all the original artwork, plus like the Bible version. And then these are the storage compartments for the records. I believe they're gray or silver. Yeah, nice looking gray there. Pretty cool. Really good album. Really good album. There's a few tracks in here that I would consider some of my, you know, ultimately favorite Earth tracks, but overall I do prefer Hibernaculum. The packaging on this is just so great. I love it. Pretty much the same, just with a slightly different graphic. On the B side, I believe it is, or the back side, whatever. So those are my Earth records. Like I mentioned, I haven't really gotten into their early stuff. It's very easy to find. A lot of it's been repressed recently. From what I heard, or what I've read and what I've heard of it, it is definitely more drony, metally, whereas this is much more melodic, like beautifully melodic, like orchestrated, just so atmospheric, dark, somber, beautiful. Fantomas. Man, what a band. I heard the original self-titled record right towards the end of high school for me. I don't remember exactly what year it came out. That's the upside there. But yeah, it was funny because this is way back in the Napster days, and my friend told me about him. He's like, oh yeah, it's, you know, the guy from Faith No More and Mr. Bungle, meaning Mike Patton. He's like, oh, it's really cool, you should check it out. And I just downloaded a couple random tracks on Napster, and I was like, this is weird, man. I don't know, I can't really dig it. And then, you know, fast forward a couple years when I was really into Mr. Bungle, and I found the first record for sale on CD, and I picked it up, and I was like, okay, I get it now. This is not an album you just listen to individual tracks like at random. You listen to this start to finish. You know, you don't skip tracks, you don't pause it, you just listen to it, and it just all made sense to me. And wow, man, I can tell you this has had a huge, profound effect on me. It's considered, like, their first record is considered one of the most you know, unique avant-garde records that's, you know, semi-mainstream. Yeah, this is the first record. They don't include the original artwork, which is both kind of cool but not quite cool, because I actually have all of the records except for Suspended Animation on CD somewhere. But so I do get a different cover, which is cool because you do get new artwork, but it would be cool to have the original artwork, you know, tomato kind of thing, like whatever. Black sleeves, and then the records are all pressed on black vinyl. This one's got a little bit of dust on it. I have to put it through the cleaner, the spin cleaners, whatever the heck it's called. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't even know what I can say about this album. I would definitely put it up there as a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just like, I've never, ever heard anything like it before. It's just the most outrageous, bizarre, seemingly random music I've ever heard, but then when you listen to them live or see them live, it's just like flawlessly executed. It's basically a super group of some of the most talented, you know, unique musicians out there. Supposedly Mike Patton orchestrates everything himself. He writes and, you know, puts everything together and then brings in his band to perform, as I've heard, which is, you know, pretty cool as well. But yeah, this is Suspended Animation. This is a really good record. I did not like this at all when I first heard it, because I was kind of used to it being their sound being so dark and eerie and just so brutal and outrageous, ambient, everything kind of mixed in there. And this is definitely a happier, more playful record. You can see if you look at the original album art. But it really grew on me. There's some really great tracks. Oh, it's got a white sleeve. I wonder why that is. Maybe I mixed it up with something. But I really enjoy this. This one, actually, I should have mentioned that this original one here, the tracks are pages from a comic book, the Fantomas comic book. So that's the whole premise. There's 30 tracks, 30 pages in this comic book. This one is a song for each day of the month for April 2005. So there's a song for each day of the month. And if you have the CD version, it has, like, you know, Shrimp Scampi Day and, you know, Hot Dog Day and stuff like that. It's just like all these weird random American, like, official day of kind of things. This is really good. There's some really heavy, brutal stuff on here, but there's a lot of, like, you know, cartoon music and stuff. Kind of reminiscent of some of the stuff you'd hear on Mr. Bungle, but just even more abstract, convoluted, outrageous, bizarre. Yeah, really, really good record. Gonna skip that one, I think. Do that last. This is Delirium Cordia. This is the only one that comes on double vinyl. I have this as well on CD somewhere. And the artwork for this in the CD is freaking creepy, man. Holy wow. I believe it's the only one that was pressed on vinyl, but I believe, as I recall, it's super, super, super rare. The premise behind this is it's meant to be a soundtrack for surgery without anesthetic. And when you look at the CD, the booklet, it's just really disgusting pictures of, you know, pulling people's eyeballs out of their head and, like, what is it, irrigating their heart and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I don't know, I get really squeamish about operations, whether the pictures are real or not. it still like really really bothers me. This is one of their more challenging albums to listen to. Like if you think the original album, the self-titled, is hard to listen to, I think this is even more. There's a lot of ambient. It's basically one track on the CD at least. It's one track that goes right through. It's like 70 or 80 minutes long, and there's just kind of like bursts of percussion and heavy guitar riffs and stuff. I have to admit I have not listened to this in full in a really 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 long time. I don't think this album particularly translates to vinyl. No Fantomas do really, except for the next one, because I think they are kind of meant to be played start to finish without any changing records, turning records over, etc., etc. So unfortunately, I think some of the effect is lost, but still pretty cool. I have listened to this more recently on MP3, but I have not actually put the vinyl down on my turntable yet. And this is Director's Cut. Admittedly, this is my least favorite of their albums. Even when the CD came out, I was already into them by this time. Late 90s, early 2000s, I think. Don't see a date or a year on here. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like it that much, and I still don't. It's basically them doing soundtracks to, or themes from famous movies. Some of them kind of obscure, some of them a little bit more mainstream. Now, I have always, and I still do love, Der Golem and the Godfather theme. They are amazing. Der Golem is so freaking heavy, and the Godfather is just like a really cool, I don't know, like kind of a mix between like a hardcore and like, I don't know, like a brutal metal song. Other than that, nothing on here really, really speaks to me, but those tracks, and they're track 1 and 2, they're really cool, really good. And I wasn't sure if this is in here or not, but it is. This is a copy of, this is kind of cool as well. It's these, the box set is called Wunderkammer. And maybe it does go like this. Yeah, that's how it goes. I flipped it upside down again. It's called Wunderkammer or Wunderkammer, which means like Closet of Wonders. And this is still available really cheap on Amazon. I have no affiliation with Amazon. I don't get kickbacks from them or anything, but if you're looking for this, last I had seen a couple months ago, they were going for still like $70 or $80, which is about what I paid for mine, and they have really cheap shipping. So if you're looking for this, check it out there. I've seen this in like indie record stores, but it is like $100 or more, and I'm cheap, so I would rather just get it from Amazon for like 30 or 40 bucks less. And yeah, this here supposedly is overkill. This is like a massive, huge box that comes with a little tiny cassette. That's it. This whole thing houses a cassette that's already housed in a sleeve. So what this is apparently is Fantomas's, like the original interpretation of it, everything done by M.I.T.Y, and this is the demo tape, obviously not the original, but this is a copy of the demo tape that he sent to the musicians that he wanted to work on it with him. Trey from Mr. Bungle, Dave Lombardo from Slayer, and Buzz from Melvins. Kind of cool. I do not even have a cassette player, so I wouldn't even be able to listen to this if I wanted. I'm sure it's on YouTube or something, but if it's just like rough demos, it's probably not as good as the original. But whatever, maybe I'll get around to listening to it someday. I find the original Fantomas record to be so dark and atmospheric. Some weird art here, some weird little knickknacks in the Wonder Closet. But I find it to be so dark and atmospheric, I can only listen to it at certain times and certain moods and whatnot. Should also mention that there was kind of a little ribbon, or I don't know, a little slip that went around it, but mine arrived already damaged, and I stupidly kept it on around the box set, and it just got even more damaged. So I took it off and put it in storage, just because, you know, I don't want it to get ripped in half or just be to the point where it's so damaged I'm gonna throw it out. Ooh, crap. That sucks. Got some scratches on the bottom. I think more just because it is such a bizarrely shaped, oversized item, it just gets scratched a lot. But whatever, I've still got the records and they sound awesome. Anyway, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned for some more. I've still got lots and lots and lots of records to talk about. So, see you again soon.